Merry Christmas, everyone! It's your boy, Jack Small of Image Station, back into you all again with yet another video. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done this. And today we're doing something different. We're going to be doing another tier list, but not just any tier list. This is a tier list of my childhood Nickelodeon. Oh man, Nickelodeon back in the day. It was amazing, man. There were so many great shows coming out. There were so many excellent hit after excellent hit, especially in the 2000s. So today I went online and found a tier list of the Nickelodeon shows from the 90s all the way to the current decade. Now, as you can see, 90s, so it's not going to go like way back to like where it started. I believe it started in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. According to the rules, there's no Nick Jr., so no Blue's Clues or Max and Ruby. That might be its own list. No Nick at Night, and no shows from before 1990s. So yep, no Garfield, no Double Dare, and no mini-series. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the tier numbers I have here. First up is the Stephen Hillenburg Award of Legends. Now, as you guys know, Stephen Hillenburg was the creator of SpongeBob, and probably one of the nicest guys that you could ever be around, and he's sadly not with us anymore, so in his memory, I gave him a dedication as the top tier name. So, yep, the Stephen Hillenburg Award of Legend. This is the God tier. This is the top tier. These are the shows that make us remember the golden age of Nickelodeon. And then right under that we have Iconic. That's the great tier. That's shows that are really good. And, I mean, they're great. But they have one or two little flaws or something about them that just doesn't put them in that super high Stephen Hillenburg Award tier. Then we have the Splat. You OG Nickelodeon fans should know this. Nickelodeon's original logo was a splat, and it was the most iconic, I think, of all the TV logos. So that's why it's good tier. Then we have Passable. That's the average shows that aren't terrible and aren't torturous to sit through, but I'm never going to watch them again. Then there's Disgrace, below average, bad. And then, of course, we have the Shadow Realm. The shows that are total trash and should not be watched by anybody for any reason whatsoever. And then we have Haven't Seen or Don't Remember, because there are a lot of shows on here that I either have not seen or I have seen, but I don't really remember much about them. So, to keep it fair, that's where I'm going to put those. So, we have a lot to get through. Like, there's a lot on here. So, let's go to presentation mode. And let's get started with this tier list. This is going to be a very long video. So, double check I'm actually recording. Am I? I can't tell if I'm recording right now. Hold on a sec. I'm using a new screen thing, so apologies if I'm being amateur. Hold on. Stupid technical difficulties. Okay, we are recording. Good. I just had to double check. But yes, as you can see, I'm all decked out. I got my new SpongeBob shirt. I have the SpongeBob Santa hat. I'm ready to do this, if you guys are. So let's jump right in to the Nickelodeon tier list. First up, we have Eddie McDowd. I don't think I've actually watched this one. Get out of here, TikTok. I don't think I've actually watched this one, and I don't even think I've even heard of it, so we're gonna put that right there. I haven't even heard of it, so yeah, that can go there. 16, I have seen it. I've seen one or two episodes while watching the Nicktoons channel, but I don't really remember it, sadly. You guys let me know down in the comments if it's good or bad, because I really don't know. Ah, Real Monsters. Okay, now we're getting into the classic tunes. Well, at least one of the first ones. And here's what I think about it. As you guys know, I'm a huge horror nut. And whenever you put horror elements into a show, you automatically have my attention. but there is sometimes a thing known as going overboard. And All Real Monsters, it is a very iconic Nicktoon in its own right. And I think, from what I can remember of the show, I actually just watched it recently because Oblina's an All-Star Brawl. I'll put it in the splat tier. It's a good show. I think it's a good show. I think Klasky Supo did a great job with what they had to work with. The voice actors were really good. The stories were really good. The characters, for the most part, pretty memorable. You know, Ickis, Oblina, and I believe his name is Krunk? Something like that. I don't remember the eyeball guy's name. But the designs were creepy. It worked well with the animation style. It's just a really good show. I don't think it's like right up there and iconic per se, but it is more than worthy of the splat tier. Adventures of Kid Danger, Shadow Realm. You guys should all know why. It was lazy, it was disgusting, it was deplorable, it was just garbage. All you guys have seen this show should already know that. It is garbage. Top, like bottom of the barrel trash. And this is coming from the one guy that actually doesn't hate Henry Danger, if the original is on here somewhere. Now, The Adventures of Pete and Pete. This is a show that I don't think anyone really talks about, which is a shame because I think it also belongs in the splat tier. I thought the scenarios were really good, all the characters were great, and while the show itself was simple and a bit way too heavy into the all the 90s trends like skateboarding and all that stuff, it still worked really well. I thought the characters were really cool, and it's definitely more relatable now that I'm a 20-year-old man, so... but I really do like Pete and Pete. I think it's a really good show that a lot of people sleep on way, way too much. It is one of their best live-action shows. All Grown Up. Oh, man. I mean... I know you guys want me to put in Shadow Realm, but I don't think it's that bad. But I do think that it is definitely not even remotely passable. And it's gonna go in disgrace. The way they were able to make all these characters be so bland and generic should have already been a bad idea from the get-go. And while it's not as bad as the other Rugrats spinoff that may or may not be on this list, I don't know, I haven't seen the whole thing. It's definitely it's a bad show. It is below average. It's a bad show. And it's a shame because it did have potential to be something interesting. But thankfully we have the awesome 2021 Rugrats reboot, which I really hope is on this list because I want to talk about it. All That. I do not remember it. I have seen it once or twice from Nicktoons reruns sometimes, and of course sometimes on Nick at Night, but I don't remember it. I know a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia for it, but it's just not for me. Alvin and the Chipmunks. I've never been a really big fan of this franchise, especially not the movies. Aside from Chipwrecked, that one's okay. And the show itself is not bad. It's passable. It's not a bad show. I definitely can see a lot of people enjoying it. And it is nice to have an actual animated Chipmunks series so long after the original cartoon. But the CG is a bit strange. The characters are in character, but can be a bit much sometimes. And some of the scenarios they try to put these guys into is dumb, because they've either retreaded it from the original series, or it's just a stupid cliche. But I don't think Alvin and the Chipmunks is that bad. I don't mind watching it. If it's on, I won't change the channel. It's not a terrible show. What is terrible is Angela Anaconda. I didn't even know this was Nickelodeon until I saw this list, but, bottom of the barrel trash. Horrible animation, horrible voice acting, horrible characters, horrible stories, just horrible everything. It is one of the worst animated shows of all time, for a really dang good reason. It is garbage. Yes, I know that there are live action shows on here, even though this is Animation Station, but hey, if DBZ and Nickelodeon animators are allowed to talk about the Spider-Man movies, then I'm allowed to talk about live-action shows for one time on this channel, okay? Sue me. Angry Beavers. People find this show pretty good from what I've heard, but I hate to say it, but I have not watched it yet. I'm sorry. I want to. It sounds like a good show, but I just have not watched it yet. And what I have seen is Are You Afraid of the Dark? Iconic. Easy iconic. Yes, it was a ripoff of Goosebumps, but it was a really good ripoff of Goosebumps. Like, some of the things that show was able to get away with was just crazy. And they got into some really dark territory. And I hope the reboot's on here too, because I actually really like the reboot, even though I know that is very controversial to say. But I really like the reboot Are You Afraid of the Dark that's now become like an annual Nickelodeon October Halloween tradition. Hope I said that right. But yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark? It is an iconic show. I can't put it in Legends because there are some episodes that are very eye-rolling and very Goosebumps-esque with some of the characters and the plot and stuff like that. Some of them actually feel like rip-offs of the books of the Goosebumps series, so that's why I can't put it in the Stephen Hillenburg Award tier, but it definitely is iconic. It is a great show. As told by Ginger... Yeah, I'm just gonna stick that there. Avatar! I was not expecting to see this one this early on the list. You guys should know exactly where that's going. That's going into the Stephen Hillenburg Awards of Legends. Wow, man, just wow. Who thought this would have come out on Nickelodeon? And Japanese-esque Western anime. Featuring excellent voice acting, fantastic story that overarcs, very memorable characters, a lot of great fight scenes, gorgeous animation. It's just iconic. There's just nothing else I can say about Avatar that is really hasn't been said by a million other people, including Nostalgia Critic. It's just an iconic, excellent show. And it's definitely earned its place among the top tier of the Nicktoons. Awesomeness TV, trash. Shadow Realm, absolute garbage. It is not a good show. It is not remotely investing. It's just stupid. And not only that, it gives women a very bad name. Back at the Barnyard. I like the original Barnyard movie. I know it's butt ugly animation. I know it is more of a guilty pleasure movie than anything, but I didn't hate it. I thought the original Barnyard movie was okay. I watched it a lot as a kid, so I have some nostalgia for it. But the show is passable. Like, if it's on, I won't change the channel. I don't mind it all that much. The only thing I didn't like was the, sorry, I'm forgetting the female cow's new name, not Bessie, the other one, who's supposed to be Otis's girlfriend and who should have a baby in this season, but I don't know. But they tried to do the Jimmy Neutron formula, and they kind of failed. Because while this was a very successful show, it wasn't a very good show. I think it's average. I don't mind watching it if it's on, but it's average at best. It is passable. Big Time Rush. I don't hate this show, okay? I don't hate Big Time Rush. I can see what they were trying to go for, and boy bands were very popular back in those days, because One Direction. But it is not a good show, and I don't think it's passable. I think it's a disgrace. Me personally. I thought the characters were stupid. I thought they gave millennials a very bad name. And it just seemed like another run-of-the-mill Nickelodeon sitcom that was absolute trash, so Yeah, that's Big Time Rush. I'm not going to put it in Shadow Realm because I don't absolutely hate it, and I do think the guys have talent. I mean, they're still together, even after the show's been canceled, but it's just not for me. I can see why some people like it, but it's just not for me. It's not Shadow Realm, but it is bad. Brain Surge, I haven't seen it, sadly. Breadwinners, Shadow Realm. Everyone is already taught to death about how absolutely garbage this show is. And why they keep pulling garbage off of YouTube back then, I had no idea. I mean, it wasn't good when Annoying Orange did it, and it was even worse when Nickelodeon tried to do it with Breadwinners. And the original thing was actually better than... It's just a mess. It's a bad show, guys. Do not watch Breadwinners. It is absolute garbage. I don't even know what that is. Buckets, Skinners? I don't know that one either. But Ugly Martians, I've heard of it, but I don't remember it. I know I've seen it, because I have seen that character design before, but for the life of me, I can't really remember much about it. Bunsen is a beast. That one should be very self-explanatory, Shadow Realm. What a disappointment. You know, because we had Butch Hartman making hit after hit. We had Fairly Odd Parents. We had the amazing Danny Phantom, which, yes, spoilers, it's coming. And the decent Tough Puppy. But this fourth and final show that he did with Nick is an abomination. It's annoying. The animation's bad. The characters are bad. The story is bad. It's just awful. It is cringe-inducing to watch. You know what else is cringy? Casagrandes. Trash. I have been very vocal about the hate I have for this show. And it's not because I don't get the culture. No. I have seen shows and a lot of movies that do this culture and can do it correctly. Casagrandes feels like a very cheap, poorly made spin-off. The only other character I liked in the show aside from Ronnie Ann's okay, is the dad. I do like the dad, and I do think that he is a decent character. But everyone else is an annoying, boring stereotype, and it's obviously just a cash in on the Loud House's popularity. It is garbage. It is an awful, awful show. Cat Dog. It is memorable. I will give it that. But watching it recently, actually, hold on. Let me take you guys on a journey for a second to my VHS tape cabinet. Or shelf, whatever. I do have one of the VHS tapes. Right there. But, it's passable. It's very mean-spirited and can be very gross. But it's passable at the best. I know saying something like that is going to piss off someone like Mr. Enter, but it's the truth. It's passable at the very least. If you guys like it, that's fine. But it's just not for me. It's one of the weakest of the classic Nicktoons. Now, Cat Scratch. This is an interesting one. How this show didn't take off is beyond me, because I think it is iconic. Cat Scratch is surprisingly good. I've watched this one recently for the very first time, and I could not believe, the effort that was put into this show. It was funny, it was well animated, the voice acting was really good, and the scenarios were interesting, and it didn't come off as cringy. It was actually very well put together and extremely underrated. I really like Mr. Blick as a character. I thought the Irish cat character, I forget his name, sorry, was very, very good as well. And it's just an entertaining little show. I think it's iconic. I think it's great. Why is it not a legend, though? because it was poorly mishandled by Nickelodeon and could not get more than, I think it was 3 or 2 seasons, and no one talks about it. It's one of those shows that's been forgotten. It's like a hidden gem in Nickelodeon's back catalog. I really hope that Shout Factory gives this a complete series DVD release like they did with Jimmy Neutron just this October, because I want to watch Cat Scratch again. From what I remember, it's a great show that definitely did not deserve the crap it got. Chalk Zone, have not seen. Sorry. Clarissa Knows It All, I don't know that one either. I don't even know what that is. Oh boy. I was waiting for this one. Danny Phantom. One of the best cartoons of all time. And my personal favorite Nicktoon. Everything about Danny Phantom worked so well. It managed to be edgy without coming off as cringe. It was well animated, the characters were excellent and very memorable, the action was great, the overarching story was great. It's just an amazing show in every single way, shape, and form humanly possible. It's just fantastic. I adore Danny Phantom, and I wish Nickelodeon didn't treat it like such garbage while it was airing, because it was supposed to get a 4th season, but they cut it short. They did not give him his own proper video game on console, outside of the Unite games. And until a few years ago, when Shout Factory released the complete series DVD, the only other thing that had Danny Phantom was the Nitpicks Volume 3 DVD. And that's a real shame, because those would have sold like hotcakes. There are a ton of people I know that are still fans of Danny Phantom, just like me. And I hope one day this show does get revived, like all the other Nick shows we've been getting recently, because I think Danny Phantom is the most deserving Nicktoon that demands a new series and a sequel. Heck, Butch Hartman has been concept arting a sequel for decades now. Let him make the show that he wants to make, because I know that it's going to be just as good as the original. It's a fantastic show. I love and adore Danny Phantom. I mean, heck, I dedicate my birthday month to talking about it, for flip's sake. But yeah, Danny Phantom, it is easily a Ward of Legends tier. A fantastic, phenomenal show. And I cannot wait to talk about Season 2 come February. Doug. I can't put it in Shadow Realm, because it is one of the first Nicktoons, so I can't be too hard on it. But it does not hold up. It's a disgrace. It just felt, it's very bland. It's very bland, generic, and a bit uneventful. And that theme song is possibly one of the worst I've heard in my life. But it's not a god-awful show, because I do give it a bit of respect for being one of the best shows, being one of the shows that put Nickelodeon on the map. This was one of their first Nicktoons alongside Ren, Stimpy, and Rugrats. And I think for that reason it goes at the top of the disgrace tier. It's almost passable, and at the end of the day, it's harmless. It's a harmless little cartoon that kids are gonna like, but for us, just no. Oh, Drake and Josh. What can I say about Drake and Josh that hasn't been said by everyone in the freaking world? I don't know what I can say about Drake and Josh that no one else has said. It is by far the best sitcom Nickelodeon's ever done. It was funny, it was relatable, it was rewatchable, it was quotable, it was memeable, it was just a phenomenal show. And it came out the same year as Danny Phantom. So that was like a 1-2 punch of quality, because you had an amazing sitcom playing next to an amazing cartoon. And both of these shows were excellent, man. I love and adore Drake and Josh. And yes, I know the things that have come out about Drake Bell, and I know that saying his name or even mentioning him is gonna possibly get a huge dislike count on my video. But I still adore Drake and Josh, man. It's iconic. It is a legendary show that I rewatch all the time, thanks to recordings on my Xfinity from Nicktoons reruns. I love Drake and Josh, man. It is, if any show deserves a Shout Factory complete series release out of all the shows they haven't done yet, Drake and Josh is the absolute one, because getting DVD releases for this thing nowadays is a massive pain, because they're all out of print, they're all hard to find, and they're all expensive of the wazoo. So, but yeah, Drake and Josh, incredible show that I watch all the time. And I may or may not review the Christmas movie on my second channel, because that's one of my annual watches every year, to watch Merry Christmas, Drake and Josh. But yeah, that show is great. El Tigre. This is an interesting one, because I've not seen the show in years. So, I'm not sure if I'm justified to talk about it, but from what I can remember, the little bit that I can remember from the show, and after talking with my boy Shader, I think it belongs in the Splat. From what I can remember, it's a good show. It is a good show that was just horribly mishandled by Nickelodeon. Seeing a trend here. But El Tigre is good. I can't put it any higher because I don't remember it being that good, but it is good. And I do think that it belongs in the Splat tier. I know Shader will probably have it higher if he ever does a list like this, but I do enjoy El Tigre from what I can remember, and I'm all for Manny getting an All-Star Brawl as a curveball DLC character. That'd be really cool to see. Every Which Way, have not watched. Fairly Odd Parents. The first 4 seasons of this show were legendary. And then it just got on a massive downward spiral to the point where it was outright unwatchable. And that's a real shame, because the way the show started out in the first 4 seasons, well, not first 4, first 5 seasons, was really, really good and very memorable and extremely funny. But as soon as they brought in Poof in season 6, it started to just go on a massive downhill slope to just outright crap. The final season of Fairy Odd Parents is some of the worst animation I've ever seen in my life. So, for that reason, I cannot put it in Iconic or Legends, but I will put it at the top of the Splat tier. It's close to being great, but because those final seasons were so atrocious and so bad and so poorly made, I can't put it any higher. But it's an iconic show, and I'd love to see Timmy in All-Star Brawl. Fanboy and Chum Chum, we all know the story to this one. Have fun in the Shadow Realm, buddy. You're trash. You are absolute trash, and Nickelodeon choosing you over Adventure Time is a cardinal sin. Fred the Show, another terrible freaking YouTube show. Stop porting shows from YouTube, Nick. You are terrible at it. Game Shaker's really bad. And it sucks, because it had a decent concept, you know. These kids make a game and get all the money and popular and all that stuff. You know, that's a decent premise, but the acting's bad, and it just feels like another run-of-the-mill garbage Nickelodeon sitcom. Harvey Beaks. Harvey Beaks is a tragedy, because Harvey Beaks was made by one of the people that made SpongeBob SquarePants. I believe it was Aaron Springer. Or did he go on Gravity Falls? I don't remember. But someone from SpongeBob worked on Harvey Beaks. And from what I can remember, from the little bit that this show had before Nickelodeon treated it like absolute crap and canceled it, it's a legendary show, man. It's so mellow, so laid back, so saccharine, and it's just a very pleasant watch. It's not overly annoying, it's not overly simplistic, but it's just a great show. And the animation, my god, the animation was amazing. How they made these 2D characters mixed with watercolor backgrounds is gorgeous. And of course, since this came out in a time when Nickelodeon was continuing their downward spiral into being the Nintendo of animation, of course they treated it like crap and outright canceled it. And then sent it to Nicktoons to die. A very slow, painful, agonizing death. And it's a tragedy, because it was a great show for its time. And I was there when it premiered, I loved it, you guys loved it, we all loved it. Haunted Hathaway is trash. Henry Danger. Now, Henry Danger is stupid. Okay? Henry Danger is very stupid, and it is very lazy. But here's the thing about it. To me, it has a bit of a charm to it. Through some of its characters, and some of the scenarios they get into are very interesting. But I'm not saying this show's good or anything. It's not. I know it's bad. But I don't think it is that bad. I don't mind rewatching the original Henry Danger. It is going at the top of the disgrace tier because it's still a bad show. But it's a guilty pleasure for me. I do enjoy Henry Danger. But I can very obviously agree with everyone in the quote that it is a bad show. Hey Arnold. I think you should all know where this is going. I think there's not been another cartoon in the animation that has been so influential, so well done, so well made, and captures its time period so well without coming off as cringe and being so serious and realistic, but yet beautiful in that realism, than Hey Arnold. I got into this show recently, and I can see why people love it. Because it deserves that legend tier. It is a great show, and the Christmas special, oh god, the special. I cried just thinking about that ending. But, my god, man, Hey Arnold, it was ahead of its time, and it is a great show in every single way I can think of. And I hope one day it gets revived, because we could use Hey Arnold's realism and great writing and fantastic stories in our modern day history. I love Hey Arnold, man. It is a great show. House of Anubis. I know a lot of people are probably going to just think this is another sitcom. A really bad sitcom at that. But, here's the thing. I disagree. It's not Shadow Realm, I think, to me, House of Anubis belongs in the Splat tier. And this may just be out of nostalgia because I read the original novel, like the novelization of the first season, so much as a kid. And I'm pretty sure I still have the book. I think it's probably down in my basement. But, my god, man, House of Anubis was way better than I expected. Yes, the acting could have used some work, but the way they were able to, make this mystery and all these supernatural elements and give it, this dark edge. And not only that, no laugh tracks. Thank you, Nick. Thank you. But yeah, I really like House of Anubis. This may just be out of my nostalgia, but I really like it. I think it belongs in the Splat tier. Not any higher than the bottom of the Splat tier, mind you. This is still a Nickelodeon sitcom, after all, that came out after the golden era of Drake and Josh and iCarly. But House of Anubis is extremely underrated. Seriously, check it out if you guys haven't seen it. It is surprisingly really good. Okay, speaking of iCarly, I feel like I'm stepping into very touchy territory. I think iCarly, as a whole, this is the original, not the reboot, even though the reboot's actually really good. I really hope it's on here, too. It should be, because it says that it has the 2020s in there somewhere. Okay, I gotta take this off, my head's sweating. But, I think iCarly belongs in... I'm gonna put it... Where should I put iCarly? That's actually a good question. iCarly's not a bad show. I'm not putting it anywhere near Disgrace or Shadow Realm. It is good, and I can see why people really liked it. But, I don't know, it just kind of softened on me these past few years. But, I'll tell you what, I will put iCarly at the top of the passable tier. Actually, no. You guys are gonna kill me for that, aren't you? Okay. I'll put it there. In the middle of the splat tier, okay? It is a good, solid show that did not deserve the ludicrous success it got, especially because it was one of the reasons Drake and Josh was canceled. But I don't hate it. I think it's good. I think it is a good sitcom. It just doesn't hold up that well. And the revival is so much better. Invader Zim. The one last time Nickelodeon Animation got ballsy and tried something unique and crazy. And you guys should all know where that's going. Okay, I don't like it more than those. I'll put it right there. Invader Zim is a top 10 Nicktoon, and a top 10 Nickelodeon show overall for many, many reasons. It was dark, it was edgy, it was different. It stuck out of Nickelodeon at a time when it was starting to turn into a downhill slope. The voice acting is iconic, the characters are iconic, and some of the things that this show was able to get away with, especially Dark Harvest, was crazy. This was the one last time Nickelodeon was able to change the agenda and give us something that was made for both adults and kids that wasn't SpongeBob. But Invader Zim, my god, it is a fantastic show. It belongs in that legend tier, man. It is fantastic. It's really good. It's beautifully dark. You know what else goes in that tier? Another legendary show, a very big heavy hitter, that I actually like more than these, is Jimmy Neutron. I love Jimmy Neutron, man. Not only was it the only time that Nickelodeon did a CG show that didn't suck, outside of the Rugrats reboot, and maybe something else that is gonna get my comment section to kill me, but Jimmy Neutron, man, my god, it was ahead of its time. It was CG animated in a time when it was brand new to the network. It had great characters, it had great stories, it was very inventive and creative, and it was one of the things that actually got me into science. Yeah, no joke. Jimmy Neutron and Bill Nye were the two big things that got me into science as a topic and a subject, because science can be really fascinating if done right, and Jimmy Neutron does it so well. The third season is not great, I will give it that, but, I'd love one day to cover this show and tell you guys my thoughts on, like, all the episodes and everything, because if I take you guys back over to my cabinet real quick, why do I keep calling it a cabinet? I have 3 of the original VHS tapes of Jimmy Neutron. And a little update for you guys on the wish list. I did put Jimmy Neutron Complete Series Shout Factory release on that list. But my god, man. Who does not love Jimmy Neutron? It is a classic, iconic Nicktoon. And easily one of the best shows Nick's ever done. And I really hope that someday we can get it revived. It deserves to have another go. It deserves to have more episodes. It deserves to have a sequel. It deserves to have more adventures with Jimmy and Retroville. Just iconic, classic, fantastic show in every single way, shape, and form. Alan Trudge, I don't even know what that is. Just Jordan, I don't know that one. Kablam, I haven't watched that either. Ugh, oh boy. Time for me to lose all my respect as a SpongeBob fan. Camp Coral. People hate this show. Like, they hate it to a baffling degree. But here's the thing you guys need to realize about Camp Coral. This isn't crapping on Hillenburg's legacy. Because Hillenburg actually helped them, was involved with this show. He did get it greenlit and gave them the light to make it before he died. So it's not crapping on his legacy like many people say. And I think the hate for this show is far too overblown. I think Camp Coral, and this is coming from a huge SpongeBob fan that has been with the show pretty much since the beginning. Camp Coral can go at the very top of the passable tier. This is another one that kind of falls into that guilty pleasure sort of state. Because I don't get the hate. I don't get the hate. I don't get the hate. Actually, you know what? No, let's make a switch. I'll put House of Anubis on there, and I will put this in the good tier. Seriously, guys, stop hating Camp Coral. It is a good show in its own right. And if you just take it at base value as just another differentiation from the SpongeBob show that we all know and love, you can find some real quality here. Yes, there are bad episodes. Yes, there are things I don't like about it. But it does not deserve all the hatred and bile and spite I have seen out of millions of people on the internet about it. At the end of the day, Camp Coral is completely harmless. It is not teaching kids bad lessons. It is not trying to make people turn into horrible... Well, that's debatable, but my point is, it's harmless. It's just a harmless little kids show, because Nickelodeon wanted to do something different with the SpongeBob license outside of just the main show. And I don't blame them, because as much as I love and adore the original show, sometimes it can get boring, and sometimes it can seem like they're just doing it just to do it, to keep the show relevant. But Camp Coral is not a terrible show. I think it's good. Okay? And if you disagree, that's fine. We don't have to agree on the same things all the time. That's why we're people. That's why we have YouTube channels and conversations and comment sections. Just to voice our own opinion. I know people are gonna attack me for putting this here, but I stand by it. I like Camp Coral, and it does not deserve the bullcrap that it has been getting from the fans. Okay? Okay, let's move on before I end up going into a crazy rant. Kappa Mikey. I haven't seen it. Kenan and Kel. I don't remember it, outside of the orange soda bit. Kung Fu Panda Legends of Awesomeness. I am a huge fan of Kung Fu Panda. I think that the movie trilogy is great. And the show, I will say that the show is at best average. It's harmless. It's it's a show trying to make more success off of the original movies. Yes, they changed some of the voice actors. Yes, it does not fit with the continuity of the films at all, but here's the thing, guys. The Dragon Show on Netflix does the same thing. It makes its own legacy. It makes its own lore. It doesn't connect with the films. So stop saying that's a bad thing about Kung Fu Panda, because the Netflix Dragon Show has been doing that for years. Okay? And yes, the show had its cringy moments, but it's passable. I don't hate Legends of Awesomeness, and I won't change the channel if it's on. I enjoy it, in a guilty pleasure sort of way. Oh god, and I thought talking about Camp Coral was gonna get me dislikes. Let's talk about Legend of Korra. Oh boy. Where to start with Korra? You have Avatar, The Last Airbender. One of the best shows possibly ever made. And you decide to do a sequel series to it. And that's fine. But then you just make it feel like every boring, generic, half-efforted, just bland and uninteresting show you can think of. At least in its first 2 seasons. And yes, I do like some episodes from the show. You know, Venom of the Red Lotus. That show still haunts that episode still haunts my nightmares. But episodes like The Puppet Master from the original Avatar did that so much better. And Korra as a character is awful. She's an awful character. Yes, it's cool that she can actually use all 4 of the elements almost right from the get-go. But it's still awful. She's an awful character that I just cannot get why people like. I get having, female empowerment. I get using females as awesome. You guys know what I mean. I get the whole female empowerment thing, and I don't think having a female avatar is that bad of an idea. The problem was the execution was horrible. It was horrible. And it wasn't until the 4th season that it actually got even remotely passable. I get why you guys may or may not like it. If you disagree with me, that's fine. But to me, Legend of Korra is a disgrace. It's a disgrace to the Avatar legacy. It's a disgrace to the world that they've already built. And it's a disgrace to the franchise as a whole. I give it credit for trying to be more adult, but it's just not enjoyable. It's just not entertaining, and it's just a mess. Okay, rant's over. Sorry, I had to get that off my chest because I just don't like Korra, guys. I'm sorry. I just don't get why people like it, and I don't get why people praise it as one of the, one of the best Nickelodeon shows of all time, or one of the best modern cartoons, because it's not. It's bad. And it is so close to Shadow Realm. But because it's 4th season, and the Venom of the Red Lotus episode were okay, it will escape it. But my god, what a disappointment, and what a bad, bad show. Legends of the Hidden Temple, legendary, but have not seen it. Making Fiends, have not seen it. Martin Misery, haven't seen it. Marvin. trash. Men in Black, haven't seen it. I didn't even know Nickelodeon's behind that one. Mighty Bee, oh god. Guys, let me make something straight. I hate Amy Poehler. I don't think she's funny. I don't think she's interesting. I don't even think she's remotely passable as a comedian or a person. I just hate everything about Amy Poehler. So when Nickelodeon contracts her to make a show, you automatically have me not interested. But then you go even further and make it annoying, flash animated in the laziest way possible, stupid plots, stupid characters, lazy animation, awful setups, and just god awful. This show has faded into obscurity, and thank God for that. This show has tortured me for decades, and it can go right in the shadow realm where it flippin' belongs. Sorry, that show just brings out so much anger that I can't even... Let's move on. My Life as a Teenage Robot. Creative. I will give it that. It is very creative. And I do think it is at least good. But, is it great? Drum roll. Yes! You guys thought I was going to put in splats here. Get out of here. Man, My Life as a Teenage Robot, it's an iconic show. It's iconic for so many reasons. And just so many things about this show worked so well. It had a great setting, the characters were great, the voice acting was really good, the stories were great, and it was very relatable despite being, about a robot who's a teenager and has powers and stuff. But, here's the thing. This came out when Danny Phantom already existed and did the same thing, but better. So, taking that into account kind of saps the wind out of the sails of Teenage Robot. It's still a great show. I do think it belongs in that iconic tier, and I do think it has earned its status as a legend. Monsters vs. Aliens. My god. You guys all know it's Shadow Realm, okay? We all know it was a cheap cash-in by Nickelodeon to make success off of a movie that wasn't that good to begin with. And you just make it unbearable to watch. I am not going to go into a full rant on this, because you all know why it's a terrible piece of crap. So, if you guys want to know why it's awful, just go watch Mr. Enter's Nickorama entry on it, because I cannot articulate into words how crap this show is. This is bottom of the barrel trash. Mr. Meaty. Mr. Meaty is an interesting anomaly. It was at least trying to be original, and I will give it credit. And there are times when it can be funny. But, man, it's a frustrating show to talk about, because I like puppet shows, Muppets, Fraggle Rock, even the new Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, but Mr. Meaty is the most low effort of the bunch, but I will admit, it is passable. Yes, the tapeworm episode is disgusting and deplorable, and the voice acting can get on my nerves. But I can see the potential. I can see that it was trying to do something original and trying to be something. I give it respect for trying to do something original on a time when the network was already on the way down to the toilet bowl. But I can't put it any higher than passable. I respect it for trying, but at the end of the day, at best, it's just average. My Dad the Rockstar, have not seen this. Ned's Declassified. Oh boy, this is a very interesting one to talk about. Ned's Declassified is another very interesting one. Despite coming out around the same time as Drake and Josh and iCarly, it felt like its own entity. It didn't feel like a ripoff. It didn't feel like a rehash. And I do really enjoy it. And the characters were good, the setups were good, and it really was very funny. And it was very, very stylized as well. So, with all that said, I'm going to put Ned's Declassified in the Legend tier. It still holds up surprisingly well, and even in the modern day climate that we live in today, if teenagers today watch this show, they will still relate to it. They will still understand the problems that they go through, and it'll connect with them on a deeper level. And kids will just find it funny for the slapstick and the antics. But there's more to it than that. Like Drake and Josh, it has a heart and soul to it. And you can tell that people did it because they love the show so much. Heck, the original actors want to come back, but Nickelodeon won't let them because today they're greedy scumbags. But Ned's Declassified, it's a great show. And I wish more people talked about it, and I wish it didn't end up thrown into obscurity so quick. Because it was a good show, and it had a lot of potential to keep going. Hopefully with the success of the iCarly reboot, we see more, because I want to see more of Ned's Declassified Guide. And like, set it in college, or in adult life, stuff like that. That would be interesting. So yeah, Ned's Declassified, great show. Check it out if you haven't seen it. Guts, it's an iconic show, but I have not watched it. Penguins of Madagascar, I don't remember it. Pig Boat Banana Cricket, I give it props for trying to be a new Ren and Stimpy for a new generation by having the gross out humor and pushing the limit of what the censors will allow them to do. I give them credit for that. But it's still disgraceful. I have respect for trying, and it definitely has a very unique animation style, but it's still bad. Pinky and the Brain? Hold on, I thought this was a Warner Brothers show. What's it doing on the Nick list? Whatever. Apparently this was a Nickelodeon show. You guys should all know where that's going. Yeah, about there. That sounds good, right? Plant Sheen, oh man. You could have just done another season of Jimmy Neutron. But no, you had to get greedy, you had to get stupid and asinine, and you had to make this garbage. It's bottom of the barrel garbage. I like Sheen as a character, but this show just destroys him. He doesn't act like he cares about anyone, including his own freaking girlfriend, which is already reprehensible. But they made him 10 times more annoying. And the only good thing about the show was the villain. And that's because he was so cheesily awful. But the rest of it, bad. Stick to Jimmy Neutron, don't touch this pile of crap. Power Rangers. I don't know why it has Mighty Morphin, because last time I checked, they started with Samurai, and now up to not Dino Supercharge, Dino Fury, that's the name, yeah. If we're talking about the entire Power Rangers series as a whole, it can go right there. Middle of the good tier. Because, for the most part, it is mostly good and mostly memorable, but there are some garbage seasons in there. Operation Overdrive! Enough said. Rabbids Invasion. I hate the Rabbids, you hate the Rabbids, we all hate the Rabbids, they should never come back, but at least they made a decent, Mario game and they're getting a sequel. But the show's trash. Ren and Stimpy. The first Nicktoon ever created. Oh boy. This one is an anomaly. A very bizarre anomaly, but an anomaly just the same. Ren and Stimpy is iconic. But, does it hold up to this very day, despite being so off the wall and nuts? I think Ren and Stimpy belongs at the bottom of the legend tier. This show is influential on so many levels, and yes, I know that the person that made it is a horrible piece of crap human being. But the show itself is a legend. I automatically give it respect for giving us all these other Nicktoons. Like, if it weren't for this one, we wouldn't have Harvey Beaks, or Invader Zim, or Danny Phantom, or Jimmy Neutron, or Hey Arnold, or even SpongeBob. Ren and Stimpy is what made Nickelodeon Nickelodeon. Sure, it pushed the boundaries. Sure, sometimes it can be unbearable to watch. But that's the point. The point is to be batshit insane and as creative as you possibly can. And that's what this show did, and it freaking nailed it. There's a reason that Ren and Stimpy, to this day, are one of the most iconic Nickelodeon icons ever, even to this day. Yeah, Ren and Stimpy, man. Just a legendary show. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Oh, God. I'm just gonna let you guys know this right now. Rise of the Ninja Turtles is my least favorite show of all time. At least with Next Mutation, we got enjoyment out of laughing at how bad it was. But Rise was just an awful show from the very minute it was announced. The amazing, excellent, outstanding CG TMNT 2012 show to make this crap. This Teen Titans Go clone. This horrible abomination of nature. It is not just a disgrace. It is an insult to the Turtle fans that have grown up with this series since the 80s show. It is a disgrace and a horrible, deplorable piece of garbage that I cannot ever watch it again without wanting to put my fist through a wall. Do not watch Rise of the TMNT, and thank God it got canceled. Robot and Monster, we all know where that's going. Trash. Rocket Power. And another interesting one. This was Klasky Supo's follow-up to Rugrats. And I think Rocket Power deserves to be about... Where'd it go? There it is. I'd say it deserves to be about... here. I think Rocket Power is a good show. Very, very underrated. You guys should all know exactly why. Yes, it was drenched in the 90s. Yes, it was trying so hard to be hip with the new crowd. But the characters and some of the scenarios they got into, and even some of the animation with these scenes of skateboarding and sledding and snowboarding and doing all these other things. It was really good for its time. Yes, it does not hold up as well as I remember. Like, if we were talking about this when I was a kid, it would be legend, easily. I loved watching Rocket Power growing up. But nowadays, I can see its flaws, and I can see that it was kind of a bit of a cash grab by both Klasky Supo and Nickelodeon to cash in on the 90s trends. But it does not deserve the scorn and bile it's gotten from everybody. It has not been forgotten. There was a litany of fans out there aside from me. And I think it's a good show. That's all I'd say about it. Good show. Oh boy, Rocko's Modern Life. Oh boy. Oh boy, this one. I was waiting to see when this one was going to pop up. You guys should know exactly where that's going to go. Rocko's Modern Life is a gem. It's a masterpiece. It is another show that, just like Jimmy Neutron, was ahead of its time. Everything about this show should not have worked. You have a wallaby just living everyday modern life in suburbia. That sounds stupid and boring. But they found ways to make it unique, creative, insane, and extremely entertaining. Not only that, it was the precipice for how we got SpongeBob. Heck, SpongeBob himself, Tom Kenny, voices Heifer. But the way that the way this show was able to make such a boring premise so entertaining, unpredictable, wild, insane, and insanely funny is crazy. And yes, I have seen Static Cling. It is excellent. I really hope Rocko comes back one day. We need a full revival of Rocko. It is one of the most iconic shows in all of animation. Fantastic show. Cannot recommend it enough. I don't even know what that is. Rugrats. Okay. This is the big one. This was Nickelodeon's biggest hit before SpongeBob stole its thunder. And there's a reason. Because it is, without a doubt, one of the most iconic, memorable, interesting, funny, and just creative shows Nickelodeon has ever done. But because of how the show went on such a downhill spiral after Dill was brought in after the movie, I can't put it in the legend tier. Like Fairly Odd Parents, because it had such a seasonal rot with the original series, I cannot put it in that legend tier. But it has deserved its iconic name. It has deserved being one of the most successful shows in animation. And I can see why this one was such a huge hit before SpongeBob came around. Because Rugrats is iconic. It is absolutely iconic in every way, shape, and form. Preschool Days, was this even a show? I feel like it was only one or two episodes and then it got canned. And it's good because it's awful. It's Teen Titans Go before Teen Titans Go. That's all I need to say. Salute Your Shorts, have not seen. Sam and Cat. I actually do not remember Sam and Cat, so I can't even say if it's good or bad. Sanjay and Craig. Sucks. Next, School Rock, have not seen. Alex Mack, have not seen, but very interested. Okay, here we go. Was the most successful, longest running, most amazing, iconic Nickelodeon show of the entire millennium. SpongeBob's impact is astronomical. Everything that this show has been able to do from its first 4 seasons was perfect. It is so entertaining and rewatchable and funny and quotable and memeable and just so recognizable that it is the show out of all the Nicktoons that has stuck with me the longest. Aside from that seasonal rot in seasons 5 to 8. But the show has gotten better again. And while it may be flawed, and while it may have more than enough problems, and while it may suck at times to watch, I'm a SpongeBob fan, a die-hard one at that, for a reason. Because this show's impact on me and my sense of humor is just indescribable. It's just indescribable, unbelievably, just amazing, guys. Like it or not, SpongeBob has left an astronomical impact that we have not seen since Mickey Mouse back in the freaking 50s. SpongeBob is great. It has deserved every bit of praise it's gotten from the critics and its fan base. Yes, it has problems. Yes, seasons 5 to 8 are garbage. But seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, and 11 have been some of the best animation I've ever seen in my life. And all 3 movies are also excellent. Just everything about this show works to an astronomical degree. That it belongs in that legend tier. I cannot put it above Rocco or Jimmy or Danny or Drake and Josh. But it is my only, and I mean my only reason that I have watched Nickelodeon to this very day. Because of SpongeBob. If SpongeBob wasn't on that network, I would jettison myself away from that network as fast as possible. SpongeBob was the one thing that kept me around, that kept me alive, that kept me going. It is iconic. And trying to explain the impact it had on me as a person is indescribable. It's been through its many ups and downs, but just like Mickey Mouse, it's iconic and everyone loves it. SpongeBob is amazing, and I will hear nothing less. Jeez, I went on a long rant there, didn't I? Okay. Some of these alright, let's get the ones I haven't seen out of the way. Outside knowing that this is what got Drake and Josh made, I don't know much about it. Loud House. The show started out excellent, like the first 2 seasons. But as soon as the creator was kicked out and Nickelodeon was given full control, they milked it for all it was worth. I will put it at the bottom of the good tier. Thundermans, have not seen. Troop, haven't seen. X's shouldn't even be on here. It is a lost piece of animation. TMNT 2012. I never thought I would be able to find a TMNT show that would ever top the 03 show. But that happened with this show. It is not just a phenomenal Turtle show and a phenomenal Nick show. It has earned its place as one of the best cartoons of all time. The CG was great, the characters were complex, the stories were great, it was funny, it was action-packed. It took everything that made the Turtles, and meshed them all together into one masterpiece of a show. Shout Factory, if you are listening, release a complete series of this show, because it absolutely deserves it. TMNT 2012 and SpongeBob were the 2 things that kept me around during Nickelodeon's darkest hour. Because TMNT 2012, in a time when Nickelodeon was going straight down the toilet bowl into garbage territory, TMNT stuck out as the one show from that era that wasn't SpongeBob that kept me invested, that kept me coming back, that kept me wanting to watch every new episode the day that it aired. TMNT 2012 has left an astronomical impact on me. And it is easily a top 3 Nickelodeon show. Like, not even kidding. Top 3 easily. Alright, what else we got here? VIP, have not seen. Some of these I'm just gonna blow through, guys, because some of these I have not watched. So let's get through the ones I haven't seen. Yes, I have not seen Wild Thornberrys. I've watched the movies, but I have not watched the show. Okay. Only 2 left. Guys, it's been a long video. I hope this recorded it all. Okay. Tough Puppy. This was the follow-up to Danny Phantom. And it's a pretty damn good follow-up, too. At least in my opinion. Yes, it has its cringy moments. Yes, it has some times when it can be pants on head stupid. And yes, it can be just as bad as Bunsen, with a few different moments. But I think Tough Puppy is extremely underrated. It's extremely underrated. It's a very good, solid show in its own right. It's a fantastic show. But because I can tell that it is very niche and not everyone's going to enjoy it, I can't put it higher than Splat. But it is very underrated. This show was creative, it was funny, it had Spencer from iCarly as the voice for Dudley, which was a genius move. The dynamic he had with his partner was great. And yes, while Deborah relied too much on butt jokes, it wasn't to a point of being unbearable. But it is a great show. Victorious. I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, I just know it. But I could not care. Victorious is what I think is the quintessential Nickelodeon sitcom. This was the show that got me back that gave me hope that Nickelodeon would get good again. And I think Victorious is easily a top 10 show of the franchise. Victorious had all the meanings of being terrible, but it found a way to overcome it through a talented cast, surprisingly great music, a great premise, this girl being in a music school, and of course it gave us Ariana Grande. I don't think anyone's going to complain there, even though she was a bit underutilized. But Victorious wasn't just a great sitcom, it was a fantastic show, just overall. It's rewatchable, it's funny, it's entertaining, and it's some of the most re-listenable pop music I've heard in a very long time. I love Victorious, man. I will stick up for this show until the day I am 6 feet in the ground. I love Victorious, and I am so glad that it's on Netflix for me to watch at any time. Victorious is incredible, and it easily earns its place among the gods of Nickelodeon. Okay, that was a mouthful. But that is all of them. That is every Nickelodeon show tier listed. I have a lot of catching up to do, apparently. Because there are a lot in the haven't seen or don't remember tier. But there was some great quality in Nickelodeon. And while it's not nearly as good as it was back in the early 2000s, I still haven't outright quit the network. Because of mostly SpongeBob. I will completely admit that. It's because SpongeBob Season 11 and the in-progress Seasons 12 and 13 have been excellent. Outside of Ink Lemonade, but that one was an outlier and it doesn't count. But my point is, I'm a Nick kid. I love Nickelodeon. I love watching Nickelodeon shows, and even if it is bad, even if it is a horrible, rancid pile of garbage, I will still watch at least 2 episodes to make a full opinion. Because I am waiting for that show that Nickelodeon can make again, that is that high quality and that iconicity that they had in the 2000s. Because in the 2000s, they were golden. They had some of the greatest animation and greatest shows that have ever aired on television. And while they're not nearly as good as they are now, well, not nearly as good as they were back then, nowadays, I haven't quit Nickelodeon. Not entirely. Because I know deep down, they have the potential and the skill to make something that'll blow everyone away. If they can just stop being Nintendo and stop being greedy pieces of crap, we could possibly get another show again that deserves to be in that icon tier and put Nickelodeon back on the top where they should be. That was a long video. This may be the longest video I think I've ever done. Well, no, the rehydrated stream still owns that honor. But this may be the longest non-stream I've ever done. But it needed to be done, because I love Nickelodeon, and I just wanted to talk about these shows. But, thank you guys for watching. My throat's sore. I'm gonna get a drink. Thank you guys for watching this extremely long video all the way to the end, if you have. And, if you like this content, please like and subscribe, and share it, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. What are your favorite Nickelodeon shows? What do you think deserves to be in these tiers? Where do you think I messed up? Where do you think I got it right? What are your personal thoughts on Nickelodeon as a whole? Let me know down in the comments below. Until then, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Jack Small. There will be more, there will be Christmas-related content sometime in the coming week. So stay tuned for that. And until then, shout out to the Station Squad, and I'm out. Peace! Maybe. technical difficulties. Hold on. Hold on a sec, guys. Having technical difficulties. There we go. Peace.